The Private Lives of Ethel and Albert, starring Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce. Life's brighter moments are usually the small incidental things that happen in the routine of everyday life. It's these small things, so familiar to everyone, that make up the private lives of Ethel and Albert. We'll join Ethel and Albert in just a moment. This week, people throughout America and the other United Nations of the world are celebrating the second anniversary of the United Nations Charter. It was just 2 years ago, June 26th, that the United Nations Charter came into being and was signed at San Francisco by 50 nations. Since then, 5 more nations have added their signatures to this historic document, which ranks with the Magna Carta, the Declaration of the Rights of Man, the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights, all of which represent man's age-old struggle against war, tyranny, and injustice. Everyone who hopes for a world without war, for this and the coming generations, fervently hopes that the principles of the United Nations Charter will be realized. For the success of this world effort towards peace may mean life or death to millions of people, both here in our own country and all other countries throughout the universe. The occasion of the second anniversary of the United Nations Charter is a splendid time for all of us to stop and think of what this vital document means. One nation acting alone can do nothing to prevent war, but all nations acting together in the spirit of the United Nations Charter can preserve peace. So this week, let us all resolve to practice tolerance and live together in peace with one another as good neighbors. This week, pay your tribute to the United Nations of the world. And now, Ethel and Albert. It's early evening in Sandy Harbor, where the Arbuckles live. We find Ethel and Albert in the living room. Ethel has just answered the telephone.
Hello? Yes? Well, I don't think I understand you, Mara. What did you say again? Yeah. Well, my goodness, I'd say you were. Why? Wait a minute, Myra. I'm not getting any of this. Report card, you said. Yes, but Harold Jr. has his grades on the report card. I don't see why you're worrying. Well, didn't he get good marks? They're marking you? What do you mean?
Honey, see if Harold and Myra and Harold want to come over and play some bridge, honey. We haven't played with them for ages.
Well, Myra, of course, but I don't understand what... Yeah, well, I'll run over right now. Just come to... All right, now, stop worrying. Goodbye.
Honey, why didn't you
honest.
ask him over?
Oh, Harold's aunt is there with him for a week or so. Well, Myra is just wild.
Well, what's the matter?
I don't know exactly. It has something to do with Junior's report card, which is in sections, she said.
In sections?
Yeah, that's what Myra said. Questions to be answered by Myra and Harold, and then some questions to be answered by neighbors about Myra and Harold. I don't know
What are you
what
talking
it's all...
about?
Something new the school board here in Sandy Harbor is testing. They're checking up on the parents.
Oh.
I'll be right back. I'm going over to Myra's and see what it's all about. Poor thing, she's simply beside herself.
All right, all right. Oh, golly, golly. Ah. Hello. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She's not here. Could I take a message? Oh, yes, I do. You bet. I certainly will. All right. Bye. Ah. Oh,
dear.
hello. You just had a phone
Hi.
call this minute. Mrs. Fleming.
Oh, it's probably about the fashion show tickets. Well, I'll call her back later then.
You were certainly gone long enough.
Well, I had to hear all about this, and wait till you hear it and wait till you see it, too.
I'm hungry.
My word, how can you be hungry? We just had dinner 2 hours ago.
Can't help it.
Now,
I'm
look,
just starved. Is there anything to eat out there?
cake and milk. I'll get you some in a minute. Listen to this, dear. Now,
Yeah?
listen. Here's the report card. Harold Jr.'s report card.
Boy, it looks like a travel folder.
I know it. That's what I told Myra. That's what she meant by sort of sections. You see, there are dotted lines along the edges here. These sections will each be torn off and filed separately.
What's all this?
Something new that the schools in Sandy Harbor are trying, I guess. Oh, they're doing it other places, too, Myra thinks. But the last report cards of the year have all these questions to be answered on them. And then they're sent back to the school to be checked and filed for form.
Well, let me see it. Let me see it.
Oh, really? It is certainly something. Here, take a
Oh,
look
yeah.
at
I
it, dear.
think Harold was telling me about this on the way home tonight.
Huh?
Yeah, we both caught the same street.
Oh, did he? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a section where Junior answers questions about his parents, and a section for them to answer themselves. About themselves. There's something else now. I forget.
Well, there's a section for neighbors to answer about Myra and Harold, too.
Oh.
Myra thought maybe we'd be nice enough to fill it out. It's where we come in.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah,
To be filled
yeah.
out by neighbors of this child's parents.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Section
Oh,
4,
well, okay.
something like
Where's
that.
my pen?
Don't you think we ought to fill it out in pencil first, in case we want to change any of the answers?
Oh, yeah, okay.
There's a pencil on the desk right here. Sit down on the Davenport where we can both look at it together.
Oh, okay. All right, now.
Here's the pencil.
Give me the pencil.
Move over.
Yeah, all right. Now, there. Huh.
Let me see. Which arm
In your opinion, okay, now you settled. In your opinion, do you think the parents of this child are good neighbors?
Yes, I think Myra and Harold are good neighbors, don't you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess so. Mark, yes, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yes. Are the parents of this child good parents?
Well, I'd say they were, don't you think?
Well, I don't know. I've never really approved of the way Harold treats the kids, you know. I think he's much too easygoing.
Well, Myra spoils Betty Jane terribly, that I do know.
Look at the way Harold Jr. used to act about 3 years ago. I think if that kid had spit on me once more, I'd have wailed the living daylights out of him.
Well, he was at that age, dear.
Well, I never ran around kicking people, sticking gum on them, and blowing pop guns in their faces.
Well, he got over it, didn't he?
Yeah, but what about the time we were over there for dinner and Junior put some pollywogs in my soup?
Mhm.
Well, what did Harold do? He laughed.
I know.
Yeah,
I remember
thought
that.
it was funny. Now, I've certainly got a sense of humor. I'd never try to crush a child's imagination and inventiveness and all that. But I think Junior went too far, and I think Harold was much too easy on him.
Yes, I do, too. I do, too.
See, look, there's a place here for remarks, and I think I'll write in, the Pembertons are good parents, but inclined to spoil their...
No, I don't think you should say that, dear.
I don't know why. All right. I'll say they do not employ enough disciplinary measures.
I think you should just say yes. They're good parents. You want to get Myra and Harold in Dutch?
Well, no, but
They were nice enough to ask us to fill out the questions. The least we can do is to be fair about it.
Well, there's no point in filling things like this out unless you're honest about it.
I know, dear, but it really isn't any of our business how they bring up their children.
What the school board is asking us, isn't it?
Well, maybe it isn't the school board's business either.
Well, now, that's a silly remark to make.
Well, this is getting so involved. I mean, things are coming to a pretty pass. If everybody's going to know your family secrets. Look at that one question farther down. Where is it? Here. What kind of entertaining does this child's family do? Do these parents give good, educational, wholesome parties, or are they known around the neighborhood for their noisy, so-called wild parties?
What does it mean by educational parties? What's that?
Well, that sounded funny to me, but I think what they mean is, do people play quiz games? Funny questions, all those things where you have to know who was president when and all that.
Oh, well, I don't think they've had any of those. Harold's pretty dumb, you know.
Well, I know that Myra mentioned this question. She didn't say anything, but I know she was worried about that one bang-up party they gave New Year's Eve. Remember that?
Gosh, yes, boy, what a racket.
I could see she was hoping we'd forgotten it.
Was that the night Harold was so...
Yes.
And he got up on the roof at 4 in the morning and... Oh, boy.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we ought to mention that, do you?
No, I don't. In general, they give quiet little bridge parties when they give anything at all.
Yeah, I know. And after all, Harold is a pretty sober guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know a few things about him that Myra's told me.
What?
Oh, no, I promised Myra I wouldn't tell, dear.
Well, for peace sake, you can tell me.
No, dear, I promised Myra I wouldn't tell. It's a few little things that I've known for ages. Now, let's see, what's the next question?
Wait a minute, honey. Who would I tell now?
Honey, a promise is a promise, and it isn't anything. It's just that...
Why'd you have to
There's
promise?
a few little things Harold's done that Myra wouldn't want everybody to know. She's probably sorry she told me. Now, let's see what's next. Do these neighbors have the borrowing habit?
Oh, by golly, yes. Here is a good chance to get even with Harold about my ladder.
Oh, now, Albert.
Oh, yeah, now, where's it say that? Oh, boy, I've been waiting for that. Yes, my neighbor borrows my ladder constantly. In fact, my neighbor keeps it at his house and lends it to me.
Now, you're not going to say that now.
I certainly am in
Albert,
English.
I think we ought to be generous and kind about this. Now, as far as we know, Myra and Harold are good neighbors and good parents. This is not the time to take out our petty grievances. It really is not.
Listen. If they're trying to figure out what's wrong with Harold Jr., they may find the answer right here. The fact that Harold keeps my ladder and then lends it to me indicates something.
Supposing they find out we said mean things about them.
Well, don't we just rip this part off and mail it in without Myra and Harold seeing it?
Yes, dear,
Well-
but they'll probably keep a record of how we answered the questions at the school and refer to it when Susie gets in school.
Oh.
Yes, and look at the questions Junior has to answer about Myra and Harold, too. Did you see those?
What is all this for?
To have a better understanding of the child and to help him with his schoolwork, to, help him find the profession he's best fitted for. Now, you know how to adjust to everything in
Well, then
general.
why all the questions about the parents?
There seems to be a feeling among educational leaders now that parents are at the bottom of things.
In other words, if Susie gets bad marks in school, that may be our fault.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
Huh.
Did you look at the list of questions Junior has to answer about his parents? Right here. No, turn it over, dear. Right there, on that side. Right over there.
yeah. Do you like your parents? That's dangerous. Do you like being with them? Do you think they treat you as a general rule quite fairly? If you are a girl, does your mother try to act like a sister to you? If a boy, does your father try to act like a brother to
Oh,
you?
Myra's scared to death of that question. She's always saying she and Betty Jane are just like sisters. And Harold's always saying Junior'd rather be with him than with a gang of his school friends. It isn't true at all. I remember one day hearing Betty Jane say, "Oh, Mother, please act your age," which I think is impertinent. You can see what she means.
Yeah, I know. Parents will never learn that their children would rather be with their own friends than with their parents. It's a bitter blow, but there it is. I hope we remember it with Susie. when
Yeah, I
she
do,
grows
too.
up.
Well, I'll tell you this. Oh,
Wait a minute,
honestly, yeah, I know. Honest to goodness. You go to sleep up there.
Go to sleep, Susie.
Oh, she'll go back to sleep. Let's just leave her alone, honestly.
Well, honey,
What?
don't you think we ought to be a little nicer to Susie?
Huh?
Don't you think we ought to sort of stay on the good side of Susie?
What do you mean?
Well, for Pete's sakes, in a few more years, she'll start school and she'll start telling all about us.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, let's
come
go.
on,
Come on.
Let's see. We're coming, Susie.
Daddy's coming, honey. Daddy's
We're
coming,
dear.
honey.
I don't think we ought to spoil her, though, Albert.
No, but we better keep up on our toes. Well, hello, honey.
Hello, darling.
Yes.
Want a drink of water? All right, I'll get you some water. See if Her Highness wants anything else.
Okay. All right. Yes, honey, yes. Right here, Daddy's right here. Ethel?
Yes?
Honey, all this talk about us being a report card, where are the grades?
The what?
Where are Junior's grades, his marks, for Pete's sakes?
Oh, yes. Well, one of the middle sections are down the left-hand corner. It's very tiny. You see, the stress now is not on the grades, but on the child's adjustment to everyday life.
Oh, it is.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy. Well, it wasn't like that in the old days.
No, say it wasn't.
You know, we better do some thinking about this. Susie's growing up, and we want to make sure, you know.
Make sure what?
When Susie goes to school, we want to make sure that you and I get some good marks.
Oh, Albert.
Well, after all, now, that's the way it's going.
Yes, indeed, when Susie starts to grow up, Ethel and Albert can't let her down. You know, there is no such thing as an airtight case. Some criminals hide their tracks well so that they seem to leave no evidence behind. But experts like the U.S. government Treasury agents know that no case is impossible to crack and no clue too unimportant. On a recent Monday night Treasury agent show, it was pointed out that Treasury agents gather bits of information from all over the world on sometimes 1,000 suspects at the same time. Occasionally, these bits of information will pyramid until they take on gigantic proportions. Treasury agents don't dismiss any clue. They can't afford to. These members of the largest and mightiest law enforcement agency in the world know the caliber of the criminals they deal with. The Treasury Agent program is heard over the same ABC station tonight. The Private Lives of Ethel and Albert come to you each weekday at the same time. The show is written by Peg Lynch, who plays the part of Ethel. Albert is played by Alan Bunce. The program is produced by Bob Cotton. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.